Listen, it's a shocker to no one when I say that Electronic Arts is notorious for putting out hot garbage disguised as a AAA game, especially in the past decade. And yeah, I know I probably sound like a broken record considering the fact that I echoed the same exact sentiment just 2 videos ago in my Need for Speed Most Wanted video. I mean, when your company has a long and detailed history of its controversies to the point where it has its own dedicated Wikipedia page, it's hard to act shocked when another bullet point is added to the list. But like Need for Speed, Battlefield was once a strong suit of EA, with countless cult classics being produced under the franchise name. Nowadays though, the Battlefield name has become such a heaping pile of shit it makes the dumpster fire that is modern Call of Duty look impressive. But what about the best Battlefield game? Well, it's hard to definitively point to one and say it's the best because each game has their flaws and strengths. Some people will argue in favor of the innovative Battlefield 2, some will argue in favor of the underrated Battlefield 1, and some will argue for the cult classic Battlefield 3. But no matter who you ask, somewhere near the top of the list you'll find Battlefield Bad Company 2.
This gonna get real ugly.
A while back I put out a video about the first Bad Company in which I came to the riveting conclusion that it was just fine. The story was great, but when compounded with gameplay issues it brought the game down a few notches. And people seem to not want to kill me over my opinion, so I think I did something right. Now when it comes to Bad Company 2, I think most people will agree with me that this game is amazing. There you go, review over. But for real, this game is great. It's just not flawless though. My name's Heiko, and today we're going to take a look back at Battlefield Bad Company 2 and see what the critically acclaimed sequel got right and wrong. Alright, let's get the formalities out of the way first. In 2008, EA put out Battlefield Bad Company, developed by DICE who have worked on a good majority of the Battlefield titles. Okay, yeah, that's great and all, but I already made a whole video about the first Bad Company, so let's jump ahead a few years to 2010. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, this one, not that one, has been out for a hot minute now, and EA is about to drop a new Battlefield to rival Activision's Golden Child. Yeah, believe it or not, back in the day, Battlefield used to go toe-to-toe with Call of Duty over the modern military FPS space. Anyways, after letting DICE chef it up in the kitchen for almost a year and a half, EA finally put out Bad Company 2 in March of 2010, and almost immediately the game was met with critical acclaim across the board. While a Battlefield game being good on launch is almost unheard of nowadays, Bad Company 2 came out the gates firing on all cylinders, putting up a good fight against Call of Duty, especially in the online multiplayer. Listen, I don't think anything will ever come close to those glory days of Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, but Bad Company 2 can damn well try. The multiplayer was heaps of fun, it was amazing. And you might be thinking, Heiko, why are you using past tense? Well, let me tell you.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Electronic Arts, in their infinite wisdom, decided to kill off a game which they were still profiting off of, to push a game which they aren't profiting off of. With this and the whole shit show with Activision and old modded Call of Duty clients, I'm convinced that AAA devs just like fucking hate us. But that's besides the point. So with my ass stuck on the Xbox 360 version and a stubborn hatred for paying for Xbox Live Gold, let's just say multiplayer good and move on to the campaign mode.
There we were. Bad Company.
So, here's a quick rundown. The story of Bad Company 2 opens with a flashback to World War II, where we follow a group of commandos carrying out Operation Aurora in order to secure a Japanese scientist. He mutters something about the black weapon, they get their shit rocked trying to escape, the whole thing gets covered up by the US government, this will all be important later. Flash forward to modern day and we're greeted with some familiar faces. Sarge, Sweetwater, Haggard, and Preston Marlowe are up north doing what they do best, blowing up Russians. Some dude dies and Marlowe conveniently obeys orders despite the bad guy clearly being bad, because we still have 13 more missions of this shit. You find the important thing you were supposed to find, it's a fake, here's a promotion, here's the flash drive. Go talk to some CIA dude down in South America because the Russians are trying to invade there too, I guess. You find the dude, show him the thing, now you gotta go get a data server off an old French satellite that's still in orbit. One explosion and a lot of snow later, you show the dude the data you recovered. Whoops, the Russians are building a massive super weapon that'll shut down the United States power grid so they can easily invade, and the project is being headed by the guy you didn't shoot. So you find the guy, he really wants to go find this old abandoned tanker for some reason. Random explosion. Russian guy gets away for the second time. Major plot spoilers coming up, so if you haven't played Bad Company 2 for any reason and don't want it to be spoiled for you, skip to this timestamp. Okay, cool. Marlowe finds that old ass boat that the Russian guy wanted. Turns out it had an important thing and information about Operation Aurora. Revelation! The CIA guy has daddy issues. He hates the US now, so he sides with the Russian. You can guess how that works out for him. Russian guy puts together final piece of his super weapon and test fires it on generic South American city. Whoops. Y'all are the only ones that know what's going on, so you chase after the plane that the Russian guy and his super weapon is on. Great value Mile High Club ensues. You destroy the weapon using a pistol because flimsy Russian engineering. Russian guy is still alive. Now he isn't. Texas, sequel bait, the end. Now, everything I just went over, on the surface, sounds like it'd make a pretty meh story for a first-person shooter, but it's genuinely one of the best out there, and it all comes down to the writing. The titular Bad Company is still as funny and witty as always, and with the introduction of the hippie pacifist pilot Flynn, the squad gets even better. The supporting cast is fine, I guess, and Kirilenko is an okay villain, but Sweets, Hags, Marlowe, and Sarge are all that matters, and they're what makes the story so goddamn good. Now, when it comes to the real schmeat of the campaign, the gameplay loop and everything, it feels better than Bad Company 1. Missions are paced out enough so things don't get too boring, mixing up with vehicle sections and stuff like clearing out houses in a lethal blizzard while trying to avoid frostbite. One thing I would have liked to see added outside of the campaign is another single player mode akin to something like Spec Ops from Modern Warfare. The cutscenes are amazing as always. They're all shot from a third-person perspective from what's meant to feel like a cameraman following Bad Company around through all their hijinks. All in all, the writing is amazing. The pacing keeps things fresh, and honestly, for a game released in 2010, it looks pretty damn good. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. One of my main criticisms of Bad Company 1 was that the gunplay just felt weird. Some weapons were better than others, but for the most part, it just felt numb and unresponsive. Well, I'm happy to say that it's the exact opposite in Bad Company 2. The gunplay feels amazing. Every weapon, from the assault rifles to the snipers to the shotguns to the SMGs to the LMGs, they all feel amazing. I found myself test driving a bunch of different weapons during my time with the campaign because I loved how all of them felt to use. Bad Company 2 is up there as one of the best feeling Battlefield games in the series, which is why the gameplay always feels so fresh. I had to play through the whole game twice over in the span of a few days because of a recording issue with OBS, and never once did the game get boring. Unlike Bad Company 1, there's a much more heavy emphasis on infantry combat than vehicle combat. And on the topic of vehicle combat, I can't really put my finger on it, but something feels different about it. I really liked how the vehicles felt in Bad Company 1, but in Bad Company 2, something just feels off about them, and I have no idea why. But they're not terrible. Something that's also different in Bad Company 2 is the omission of Life 2 in favor of a standard health regeneration system. Honestly, I would have liked to see Life 2 make a comeback, as the health regen system can be a bit slow. But overall, it's not a deal breaker. The core foundation of gunplay in Bad Company 2 feels amazing, and it keeps the game fresh no matter how many times you play it. If I haven't made it clear enough already, Bad Company 2 is fucking amazing. It is one of, if not the best Battlefield game in the entire series, and if you haven't played it, you absolutely need to. Good luck finding a copy though. But with Bad Company 2 being taken off online store shelves, a story ending that perfectly sets up a threequel, and extremely positive reviews, you may be wondering, where the hell is Bad Company 3? Don't worry, you're not the only one. There are many theories as to why Electronic Arts hasn't greenlighted the final part of the Bad Company trilogy yet, ranging from EA being incompetent, morons, assholes, or just all of the above. But frankly, with the current state of DICE and EA, I actually don't want to see them put out Bad Company 3, because they'll just ruin it. Seeing how they butchered Battlefield 2042 does not instill me with confidence that they'll be able to bring back Bad Company in a way that won't make people wanna say mean things about a multi-billion-dollar company. But on the bright side, if you already have a copy of Bad Company 2 on PC or have a console and can find a used copy, you can still relive one of the best modern FPS campaigns ever made.